today we're going to be taking a look at a Mega Diancie deck I've put together. It does really well against EX Pokemon. However, its Achilles heel is Stage 1 and Stage 2 Pokemon, as well as Mega Evolutions. So with that warning, let's get started. Alright guys, so it is a Diancie deck. So obviously the centerpiece of the deck is going to be Diancie. With an attack of 140, it doesn't have a lot of HP for an EX, but that's alright, because once we get to Mega Diancie, we're going to start seeing some great stuff. One of the negatives about Diancie, besides its health, is its retreat cost of 2. Other than that, we don't want to be attacking too often with Diancie, so we're just going to move right along to the next piece of the deck. The main Pokemon, the Pokemon this deck is built around, Mega Diancie. With Diamond Force hitting for 100, it's not the strongest Pokemon around. It only has an HP of 190, so it's not the sturdiest Pokemon around. But Diamond Force protects you from damage from your Pokemon EX, both Diancie and your benched Pokemon. However, if Diancie is removed from the acting Pokemon slot, it is no longer in effect. So if they hit you with Lysander, everyone's vulnerable again. It's only 3 energy, 2 fairy, and a colorless. So that's pretty solid. It's a it's a good attack for only 3 energies, I think. Alright, so then we get into support of Diancie. One of the best cards that I've found to run with Diancie is Xerneas. I do only have 2, and I have 2 coming in the mail. So if you see any cards like this, they're proxied. They'll be coming in the mail soon. But anyway, Xerneas, it's got a retreat of 2, so again, pretty high. However, Geomancy is 1 fairy energy, and you choose 2 of your bench Pokemon and add a fairy energy to them. So if you can manage to get a Xerneas and 2 Diancies, you're in business right now. So we've got those. And then our only other Pokemon besides those 12, I like to run 2 Jirachis. Just because Jirachi has an attack called Doom Desire, it's 1 steel energy and 1 colorless. You discard all energy attached to Jirachi, and then the defending Pokemon is knocked out at the end of your opponent's next turn. However, if they're retreated, they are no longer the defending Pokemon, and it cannot KO them. I still like it though. It forces them to retreat their Pokemon unless they're willing to die, and worst case scenario is you're giving them 1 prize card. Then we're going to get into our energies, because those are the only 14 Pokemon we run in this deck. So I like to run 3 Wonder Energies. Wonder Energy is very nice. It prevents any special conditions due to an attack, but it goes a little bit farther than that. It prevents all effects from your opponent's attacks. So if they use Roar, if they use anything of that nature, you just completely negate that. The only thing you take is damage. And that works fabulously with Diancie, because Diancie prevents damage from EX. So you couple them together, and Diancie's only weak to trainer cards. Then I run 9 Fairy Energy, just for Geomancy. And then I run 3 Steel Energy for Jirachis, and also because Diancie only needs 2 Fairy Energies and then a colorless. One thing I will mention about Wonder Energy, you can't search for it with Geomancy. It does not count as an energy until it's attached to a fairy Pokemon. Alright, and then we get into our stadium. I only run 1 stadium in this deck. Fairy Garden. All of our fairy Pokemon have a retreat cost of 2, which is fairly high, so we run Fairy Garden, and then they have no retreat cost. Jirachi could also benefit from this, however, Jirachi's retreat cost is only 1, so it's not too bad in the first place. And then we get into our supporters. And I run 2 Zerasics, mostly because of Seismitoad. If you can get built quickly enough, this deck will beat a Seismitoad deck. However, this deck is very difficult to build quickly. So you protect yourself a little bit from Seismitoad using a double colorless with Zerasic. You will not be able to use items for 1 turn, potentially, You know, they play the double colorless, and then they prevent you from using items with that attack. So you might not be able to use items for one turn. However, Jurassic is a supporter, so you'll be able to throw out that double colorless. And then we're going to get into Pokemon Fan Club. This is just good because you're trying to build up Diancies. You're trying to get Diancies. They're the only part of this deck you really care about. There's not really multiple ways to play this deck. You play this deck with Diancie. Just play Pokemon Fan Club, get 2 Diancies on the board, on your bench, and then you really start to get things going. Lysander is fantastic in this deck, especially against Pokemon that have a high retreat cost. It's great because you can pull out an EX that you then protect yourself from with Mega Diancie, or if they have a high retreat cost and they have no energies, Jirachi is fantastic with a Lysander. However, you just have to be careful for your opponent using a switch. And then we run some staples. We've got 3 Tiernos, draw 3 cards, self-explanatory. We run 3 Sycamores, again self-explanatory. Just trying to get those Diancies. And we get into our items. We do run 4 switches because Fairy Garden just isn't reliable enough. If you're going up against a Primal Groudon, that's going to put you in some danger. They'll discard your Fairy Garden. So you use Switch to get out in a tight spot. With that retreat cost of 2, I'd rather play a Switch than pay 2 energies. I like to run Startling Megaphone because of Megas and Primals. It discards all tools attached to your opponent's Pokemon, so that does include bench Pokemon. And then some more staples. Professor's Letter. I love 3. If you'll notice, I run 3 Tiernos, 3 Professor's Letters, 3 Sycamores. And that's just because 4 I found clogged my hand a little bit too much throughout playing, so I've toned it down to 3. And then I run 3 Ultra Balls. Ultra Balls are really nice in this deck if you're struggling to get a Diancie, you're struggling to get a Mega Diancie, struggling to get a Xerneas. You could potentially, towards the end game, play an Ultra Ball, grab a Jirachi, depending on the situation. I'll leave that up to you guys. And then Energy Switch is fantastic in this deck. And honestly, if you wanted to bump it up to 4, I would definitely recommend that. I personally only like 3, but 4 would be fantastic in this deck as well. I'll give you a situation. You have Xerneas and you have 2 Diancies. Every turn, you get an energy on each Diancie, play an Energy Switch, and you're just putting 2 right on one Diancie. And then we go 2 Evo Sodas. The Evo Sodas are nice because you can search for that Mega Diancie if you're not getting Ultra Balls, if you're not pulling Diancie from Tiernos or Sycamores, you just play an Evo Soda. The danger is Seismitoad, but that's what we have Jurassic for. And then finally, I was at one point running 2 Hard Charms. I'm going to change that to 3 Muscle Bands. 2 Hard Charms, unless they're doing massive amounts of damage to where they're potentially going to 1KO you anyway, Hard Charms they're not going to save you. It's not going to be, oh, thank God I had a Hard Charm. It's, oh, I took less damage, I'm still going to die in the same amount of turns. Muscle Band, on the other hand, boosts that attack of 100 to 120, which could mean life or death. Mega Manectric has 210. Mega Rayquaza has 220. The Primals have 240. All of those become 2-hit KOs with a Muscle Band. However, they remain 3-hit KOs without it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to comment on any suggestions you may have, if you like it, if you don't like it. Feel free to subscribe. I'm hoping to post a lot more videos in the future. Thanks for your time, guys.